Emberfall, Ascension, birth of the Ultra Phoenix. Ultra Phoenix wasn't born. She was assembled, like a storm bottled and given a pulse. Her real name was erased the moment she entered the experimental program known only as Project Emberfall. A quiet, compassionate nurse working long nights in a crumbling city hospital, she had spent years tending to broken bodies and fading lives. She knew suffering intimately, like a second language. But what she didn't know was that her empathy made her the perfect candidate. The experiment was meant to create a being capable of surviving catastrophic energy surges. Instead, it created something far more dangerous, something that enjoyed power. When the procedure ended, the woman who woke up wasn't the same. Her body pulsed with a molten golden energy that hummed beneath her skin. Flames didn't burn her, they obeyed her. Gravity bent slightly when she moved. Her strength eclipsed anything human, stepping firmly into godlike territory. But the real transformation was inside her mind. Pain, once something she soothed in others, became something she redefined. She called herself Ultra Phoenix, a name that sounded less like a title and more like a prophecy. Her brown-toned suit wasn't flashy, but it seemed to smolder faintly, like cooled ash hiding wildfire beneath. At first, she told herself she would fix the city, clean it, purify it. But power has a voice, and hers whispered something intoxicating. Why fix what you can remake? Hospitals became testing grounds. Criminals became experiments. Entire city blocks were reduced to ash simply to see how far her abilities could stretch. And through it all, she laughed. Not maniacally, but joyfully. Like a child discovering a new game with no rules. Ultra Phoenix didn't see herself as evil. She saw herself as evolution. And the city? Just kindling waiting to burn brighter. Fractured Reflections. The Many Faces of White Mask. White Mask's story begins with a mistake. A beautifully chaotic one. Born into a life of politics and public scrutiny, she learned early how to wear different faces to survive. Speeches, debates, interviews, lies dressed as truths. By her 30s, she had become a rising political figure, admired for her intellect and uncanny ability to read people. Then came the accident. A classified research facility explosion should have killed her instantly. Instead, it rewrote her. When she woke, her reflection refused to stay still. Her face shimmered, shifting subtly. Her body followed suit. Within days, she realized she could become anyone. Not just mimic appearances, but replicate voices, movements, even biometric signatures. It was terrifying. And she handled it. Terribly. Despite her genius-level intelligence, she was clumsy with her powers at first. Transformations would glitch mid-step. She'd accidentally shift into strangers during speeches. Once, she turned into her own assistant halfway through a press conference. The internet had a field day, but beneath the chaos was resolve. She crafted a persona, White Mask, a hero who could be anyone, anywhere. Her pink-accented suit symbolized something softer than her power suggested. A reminder that identity isn't just what you wear, but what you choose. Her shapeshifting evolved rapidly. She learned infiltration, deception, and strategy at levels that made even seasoned tacticians uneasy. Her political career became her cover, giving her access to global intelligence networks and interstellar diplomacy. Yes, interstellar. Because the accident didn't just change her, it opened doors. White Mask found herself pulled into conflicts far beyond Earth, operating on a galactic scale, navigating alien systems and cosmic threats. Still, she remained awkward. Trips during combat, misjudged landings, the occasional accidental transformation mid-fight. But her heart never faltered. Where others saw masks as tools for hiding, White Mask saw them as bridges, ways to understand, to connect, to protect. Even if she occasionally tripped over her own feet doing it. Crown of Storms, Rise of the Queen, Defender. Queen Defender wasn't chosen by fate. She chose herself. Growing up in a city that thrived on noise and corruption, she worked as a reporter, digging through lies, exposing truths that powerful people desperately wanted buried. She wasn't physically imposing, nor did she pretend to be. In fact, many underestimated her because of her size. That was their first mistake. Her transformation came not through accident, but through relentless training. Years of studying ancient elemental disciplines, pushing her body and mind past breaking points, until nature itself began to respond to her will. Wind bent around her words. Water followed her gestures. Earth trembled when she stood firm. She became Queen Defender, a name given to her by the very people she protected. Not because she ruled them, but because she refused to bow to anything that threatened them. Her indigo suit carried a regal weight, though her personality was far from idealized heroism. She was cynical, sharp-tongued, and often brutally honest. She didn't believe in perfect victories. She believed in necessary ones. Unlike other heroes, she didn't chase glory. She chased results. Her strength, while not godlike, was formidable, enough to stand toe-to-toe with threats most would flee from. And her control over elements made her unpredictable, like a storm with a strategy. She and White Mask crossed paths during a citywide crisis, and despite their clashing personalities, they formed an unlikely alliance. Genius met grit, chaos met control, and together they prepared for something neither of them could fully predict, because whispers had begun to spread, of a being who burned cities not out of rage, but out of joy. Cityfall. When gods collide, the city skyline flickered like a dying heartbeat. Buildings smoldered, streets cracked open. The air itself shimmered with heat distortion, as if reality were struggling to hold its shape. At the center of it all stood Ultra Phoenix, hovering slightly above the ground, her body glowing with a soft, dangerous radiance. Flames curled lazily around her fingers, like obedient serpents. "This city," she said, smiling, "is finally starting to feel alive." A gust of wind cut through the heat. Queen Defender landed hard, boots cracking the pavement beneath her. Behind her, White Mask stumbled slightly as she touched down, briefly flickering into the form of a firefighter before snapping back. "Still working on the landing," White Mask muttered. Queen Defender didn't look back. "Focus!" Ultra Phoenix tilted her head, amused. "Two heroes. That's adorable." Without warning, she raised her hand. The sky ignited. A wave of fire crashed downward like a falling ocean. Queen Defender thrust her arms forward, summoning a wall of water that roared upward to meet it. Steam exploded outward, blanketing the battlefield in a blinding fog. White Mask vanished. Ultra Phoenix's smile widened. "Hide and seek?" From the mist, figures emerged. Dozens of them. Police officers, civilians, even Queen Defender herself. White Mask's trick. Ultra Phoenix laughed. "Clever." She clapped her hands once. A shockwave of heat rippled outward, instantly incinerating the illusions. The real White Mask barely dodged, shifting mid-roll into a bird before slamming awkwardly into a streetlight and dropping back into human form. "I meant to do that," she groaned. Meanwhile, Queen Defender slammed her foot down. The ground split open, jagged stone spikes launching toward Ultra Phoenix like a rising crown. Ultra Phoenix didn't move. The spikes disintegrated inches from her body. "Is that it?" she asked, almost disappointed. Then she moved. In a blink, she was in front of Queen Defender, fist connecting with explosive force. The impact sent Queen Defender crashing through two buildings, vanishing in a cloud of debris. White Mask reacted instantly, shifting into Ultra Phoenix herself. Two identical figures hovered now. "Let's see how you like yourself," White Mask said, trying to sound confident. Ultra Phoenix studied her, then grinned. "Oh, I love me." She unleashed a blast of energy so intense it tore through the street, catching White Mask mid-transformation and sending her spiraling. Before Ultra Phoenix could follow up, the ground erupted again. Queen Defender emerged, bloodied but standing, eyes glowing. "Round 2, she said. The air shifted. Wind howled. Water surged from broken pipes. Debris lifted, swirling into a violent elemental storm centered on Queen Defender. White Mask rejoined her, steadying herself. "Plan?" she asked. Queen Defender smirked. "We hit her, really hard." Ultra Phoenix hovered above them, radiant and unstoppable. "Come on then," she said, arms open. "Show me something new." The storm surged upward, and the city held its breath.